Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining today. We are back on the Kansas City Southern Greenville sub, and we had a much better experience this time. Today we're going to build the Pilgrim's Pride Mill here in Pittsburg. Just kind of taking a look here at Google Maps for the facility. It is at the location there in Pittsburg where the Cotton Belt line, which is now the Union Pacific, crosses over the KCS. They both have access into the facility, so I've never done any serious study on the actual operations and movement of cars, you know, like to and from the plant and whatnot. But from what I remember, and I need to check, so I could be wrong on this, but what I remember, I think it receives feed via rail and then distributes that via truck to poultry farms in the area. Could be wrong on that, but that's what I think happens. I don't think it ships out feed via rail to other destinations, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to do some research, and then that will of course affect how we operate this guy. But you know, as you see me build it here, you will notice that I am making a few compromises in the design. That's not because of any reason other than space, and that's the nature of model railroading. You just have to make compromises. So I definitely wanted to, you know, model the general idea, but at the same time, you know, do it in such a way that that would fit logically within the constraints that I have in the railroad space here. So, and you know, at the end of it all, you'll see, I think it looks great, actually. I am really proud of how it came out, honestly. And one of the very unique things about it is it's got this massive shed over the main line. And, you know, it's high enough to cover double stacks, because this is the line to Dallas from Shreveport. So they run intermodal trains into Wiley, and from Wiley all the way over to Shreveport. So it's just funny to me that they got this big old massive shed there. Let's see, here's another compromise. I didn't want to put the crossover inside the shed, but it just was going to take up way too much space on that very broad curve there. So compromise, compromise, compromise. Here we're making this little yard. I've always assumed that this yard just was there to facilitate operations or car storage for the industry. The way I'm going to use it, however, is to serve kind of like the interchange track with the KCS and the UP. That's what I'd prefer to do. And then that very far outside track that I just laid, I think I'm going to make that like a mow track. Just stick some mow equipment on there. Let it be. Oh, never mind. I deleted it. Sorry. That was an idea that went through my head. I guess we're not doing that anymore. It is all good. Could be worse. I could be genuinely losing my mind. I feel like sometimes I might actually be. Just trying to get this yard here lined out. I do think that this track is long enough, even after that switch, to hold a 1,500-foot train, which is the length that we would run here. You know, if it's not a through train, it's going to be 1,500 feet. I think it's long enough to hold that, actually. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I didn't officially measure it, but I kind of eyeballed it, and I felt good about it. So, you know, we're going to cross our fingers and hope I was right. And now, of course, I'm doing my typical, you know, sink the track into the ground kind of thing. If it's a spur track or a yard track that's not used much, I'm definitely sinking it in the ground. And I could have just raised the ground a bit to cover it, and I considered doing that, actually. But decided against it. I really wanted to go ahead and make sure that the difference in height between the main line and the spur was clearly noticeable. So, since that's, you know, the case of the prototype. And then now we're just, you know, running and grabbing some textures just to get everything kind of laid out like I like. Still using just PBR textures. Love the PBRs. When I get 22, eventually, I'll definitely try the HD terrain, because obviously, you know, I want to experiment with all that stuff. I mean, I do really like the PBRs, but if I've got to do, you know, HD terrain to be able to get those smaller sizes, then I'll certainly commit to it. But if HD terrain will let me just work with PBRs, then, man, I'll be in route building heaven, because, yeah, I pretty much use exclusively PBR textures. As you can see, I did finally find the tunnel portal I wanted. It's not quite tall enough for double stacks, but to be fair, that doesn't bother me very much. It takes a lot for me to really be bothered by something. I'm very much a person who's willing to make compromises when it comes to modeling stuff. But now the track's done, we're going to go ahead and start building out the industry. This is another area of compromise. Since I'm building exclusively from built-in or download station assets, there's just a bit of a limit on what I have found that I like. I could, have spent some more time searching for some more things, and there's probably a lot of other good stuff out there that I just haven't messed with yet. But, I'm all about communicating the idea of an industry. I don't necessarily care to model it foot for foot the way it actually is, because I don't want to have to pay a 3D designer to do that. So I'm happy to kit bash, put stuff together, and communicate the concept or the idea, the representation of this industry. It's cool with me. So I know some people are really, really picky about exact prototypes. I'm not that guy. And that's okay. Everybody has their forte. But yeah, just going to throw in some stuff here to give it some shape. I'm going to start adding some just normal buildings now that are not not tanks and pipes and everything else. I wanted to put some of these industrial plants in there, but they're mostly like refinery type plants, and or like things for like cement plants, and obviously that's not going to fit. So I decided to give that up, except for the one that I left over there. The other thing I need to look up more of, I need to look up some more pipes and see if I can get different pipes or conveyors or augers that I can find online on the download station. I'm sure there's some out there. I just need to do some looking. Because there's a lot of pipes here funneling the feed or the grain, whatever it is that they're actually doing. I don't remember, like I said, I don't know if they're making feed or if they're receiving feed. But yeah, there's a lot of different pipes and conveyors and augers and things that move stuff around. So, I would like to model those connections. We'll see. I'll definitely come back if I find something I like and add it in later. And here, I'm obviously laying down the groundwork, getting everything set up there like I like. Wanted to get the kind of concrete-ish feel, and then we'll throw some dirt in there, different places, just to kind of change it up a bit. And I'm not going to, super detail anything really today, but I definitely add some trucks and get some life to it and everything. And this is another spot where I'm not really trying to model it in any sort of prototypical way. I'm just trying to represent it. So if you wanted to see me build Pilgrims exactly the way it is, to the foot, with all the fancy stuff and the exact same operations, I'm sorry, but we made some compromises, and I think it's going to work out fantastic. These I'm going to use to represent the feed trucks that we're loading up and then shipping out. And then I didn't throw any hoppers on there because I wasn't editing the session, but I should have done that before I did the cinematics. Oh well. I've got some cinematics today. Fancy that. I think if you look back at the picture that I had on Google Maps, I think actually it did have some bulk trailers like that kind of sitting at an angle. So hey, there's a prototype detail for you. You're welcome. And then, of course, moving that building, I was trying to move some trailers and ended up moving the building. And I did that way more times than I should have, because I already have a layer I can use to prevent that from happening. And I knew I did, but for some weird reason, I just wanted to try to beat the system, and it just was a waste of time. Properly modeling a scale this time, thanks to my friend Southern Simulations for recently chatting with me a bit about how scaling operations work for vehicles coming into industries and going out. It's honestly really, self-explanatory, I'll be honest. But, I'm glad he took the time to talk a bit about that. So thanks, Southern. Good man. Appreciate it. And yeah, don't get on my butt about how some of these turns are probably a bit too tight. It's all right. It's model railroad, guys. We're making compromises. I did notice, though, that the... what would you call it under there? I don't want to call it a tunnel. It's obviously not a tunnel. The passageway, we'll call it that. The passageway through the industry was just tall enough for the semi to get through. So that's good. Nice, looking good. I'm liking it. Get some of these 53 footers in place, just different areas. We can simulate that they're, bringing in packaging materials or different things, whatnot. There's all kinds of things they could be bringing in. Minerals, for mixing in with the feed. A lot of feed has different minerals in it for different reasons. Definitely not bringing in any hormones or antibiotics or anything like that, because that's illegal to add to chicken. So learn that. Whenever you see these ads on TV and they're like, made without antibiotics and hormones. It's like, well, yeah, because all chicken is, because that's the law. Anyways, I'm going to throw in some trees here, and then that will essentially finish up the edge, and then we'll have some cinematics. But as I was filming this, it was Wednesday night when I filmed it, and then Thursday night I was going to go do the voiceover, and I found out a good friend of mine passed away. His name was Brady McGuire, and he was a 2-rail O-scale guy in Sherman, Texas. And I named, on the North Texas Beltline, there's an industry called McGuire Ethanol. I named that after him a long time ago. And because he is the reason that I got into operations in the first place. He was the first layout I operated, the one I've operated the most. And just learned so much from him, and really got me hooked into model railroading operations, and really helped me discover a side of it I had just never even remotely heard of, sadly. But definitely the part of model railroading that I enjoy the most. So thanks to him, and it's obviously mixed emotions about that whole experience, but at least he's in peace and no more pain. So we're grateful for that. But we're going to live on the memories now and enjoy it for what it's worth. But now I might have to start a new route and name a subdivision after him. It kind of seems to be how I do things. But thanks to Brady. I'm here today because of him. So if you like this channel, you can thank him too. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave you guys here with some cinematics. Thanks for watching. It's been a fun time. And this experience today was a lot better than last time. We'll catch you guys next time.